A canvas black with whispers gold, stories untold, secrets unfold, diamonds scatter where the shadows sleep, infinite skies, a promise to keep. Beyond the lights where the stars collide, a universe vast where wonders hide. Above our heads, a cosmic dance, an endless dream, a fleeting galaxies swirl like painted streams, brushing the edges of our dreams. Planets hum their silent tune, chasing the sun, kissing the moon. We look but don't see, we forget to believe. Beyond the lights where the stars collide, a universe vast where wonders hide. untamed. Every spark of fire unclaimed, hidden glory just out of sight. A quiet roar in the endless night. Beyond the lights where the stars collide, a universe vast where wonders hide. Above our heads, a cosmic dance, an endless dream, a fleeting shade, a fleeting
And a big welcome to the Sky Tour family. Hi guys, how you doing? It is I, Mark D'Antonio. I just wanted to say hello and see how all of you are doing tonight. It looks like a good night. There's a few clouds about out there, but we're going to try to skip around them if we can, because there's a few things I want to show you that are really just very neat to see. Like this. This is one half of the double cluster in the constellation Perseus. And when we look at the double cluster, it's just one of the most fascinating objects. You can see it with your eyes. And if you look at the W of Cat, well, I'll show you. I'll show you here. Let's go into our planetarium program here. Right, so you see the W of Cassiopeia, right? Here it is. Okay, there's the W, right? And that W, at the end, where the W gets shallow, if you go between that star and this bright star down in Perseus, which you can see, if you look at the W, right, and then look in the direction that's like kind of perpendicular to these guys, right, you'll see about halfway there, you're going to see this fuzzy spot. And that is this guy right here. This is a double cluster. We're currently focused on this cluster. That's what this is right here that you're seeing. Okay, and the other half is just as interesting. All right, but this is in fact a double cluster. It is a really cool cluster in the night sky, and I am going to set that as the target name, which I have done, and then I will save this image. All the images we take, by the way, are going to be here at skytourlive.org. You can go out and check these out. You can download them. And what we do next is we actually will take and save this image as well. And then we're going to save it as a PNG file. So you can go grab this exact image just like this. I'll show you what that looks like right now. Okay, here's what that image looks like up on our server at this moment. So by the time it takes you to go and look at skytourlive.org and read the instructions on how to get to our server, which is just a click away, you can get this picture. All right, and that's the same way for all of our photos that we take. I give away all these, I'll call them RAWs. They're raw photos. Okay, but this is one half the double cluster. You'll notice it's a young cluster of stars, right? Fairly young, but you'll notice there's some red stars in it. Now, these stars are stars that are a little more massive than the sun, and so they're going through their hydrogen fuel just a little bit faster. And so when they do that, they end up evolving a little quicker, and they will use up their hydrogen fuel and then swell up into these red giants, which is what we're seeing, these big red giant stars, right? These stars are part of this cluster. So all of these stars in here, the destiny of those stars is to do the same exact thing. At some point, At some point, those are going to swell up to all these here. So we only have these guys right now that we can see, right? But those are gonna eventually shrink back down and go to white dwarfs, all right? And the white dwarfs are going to end up, staying hot for quite a while, billions of years, and then they will fade out as well. So that's cool. Now, this is the cluster. I've got 100 photos taken. I actually started this earlier, all right, just so I could have it waiting for you when you came in. Ta-da! It's yours. Go enjoy. Also, notice up above, right here, this is one of our telescope views, and we can actually look out. Let me move the camera a little bit, go up into the sky, and you can notice on the horizon right there, there is Orion, the hunter, rising right there. See it? We got Betelgeuse, we got Bellatrix, we got Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka, the 3 stars. You can even see the Orion Nebula and Orion's sword down below. Okay? And then you can see down here, you see Rigel, bright blue Rigel right here, right? And then just not quite there, it's just above the horizon right there, is little Saiph. That's S-A-I-P-H. Okay, so these 4 stars form the outer boundary. The belt of 3 is very, very characteristic. What's interesting is if you draw a line down, toward the east with Orion's belt, that'll take you to the eastern horizon. If you draw a line up through the belt to the west, that'll take you to the western horizon. Interesting, huh? So yeah, so that's this, and so that's our view there. This other one is a view from inside the building. You can see the telescope at different angles. Right, this one's looking over the top of the roof, and this one is inside the building looking toward the entrance door over here. Now this building is big enough for a second telescope. We're going to have a second telescope in here before long, and we're also going to have a spectrograph on one of the telescopes, so we'll be able to look at the stars and take apart how they're made and look at their compositions and say, oh look, this has potassium, look at this has calcium in it, and here are the indications in the spectrum of the star that it has calcium. So we'll learn a little bit more about astronomy. Now if some of you are out there lurking and haven't said hello yet, please do come on into the chat and say hello. Again, my name is Mark D'Antonio. I'm an astronomer. That's what I got my degree in, so I am a nerd. I do have the glasses to prove it, by the way. I just don't have them on. I need them far, not near. Okay? And this is Sky2 Livestream. Now, we tend to look at these beautiful objects, and then we talk about their place in the universe, how they form and stuff, because I think that's the thing that gets people into the conversation about what's over our head that we don't even see. And that's what this is all about. So, I'm going to save this here at 111, which, interestingly, that's my my street address is 111. All right, in a little town called Terryville, Connecticut. And the telescope is 2,600 miles away out in Benson, Arizona. All right, so let's go back and let's go into a mode I call low light mode. That's this. All right, and in this mode we can see the stars, and it's like 1 second intervals. And now I want to show you from an open cluster of stars like this. If we zoom out a little bit, because our planetarium is connected to our telescope, there's a few other things we can see. We can look at some of these objects. Now what I'd like to do is take us over to the area right here. This is called the Heart Nebula. We're going to look at this location right here. And what's interesting about it is you'll see the telescope move very little bit. Okay, and now it's here, and I'm going to stop our guider system here, and we should see a really, really nice view coming up here, because this is another young cluster of stars in here. But what's also in here is hydrogen gas, and this hydrogen has been ionized by these hot stars. In other words, it's glowing red, which is kind of an interesting color for gas to glow, but that's hydrogen's specialty, glowing red. So let's take a look at this location right here to do this. We're guiding now, so I'm going to make this a 30-second shot, 30 seconds of exposure. Alright, and this is going to give us and show us what's hiding back here, because there is something hiding back here, which you'll see in just a short moment. Now, just to walk you around the screen, if you haven't been here before, again, these are our telescope views. This is me. Hi. This is our telescope control here. There's another section over here which is very important. This is all the camera and telescope focusing controls. Right. We also have movement controls here that I'll use from time to time. But oh, look at that. We got something strange right there. Look at that beautiful red nebula. Now, I'm not quite where I want to be, so I'm going to move myself over a little bit. And I'm going to do that in just a second. Here we go. So, we also have, besides our exposure control right there, we have our gain. So, gain is how sensitive we make this telescope. Alright, now I'm going to move the telescope this way. Alright, and it's going to bring that nebula more into our view. And then I'm going to see how that looks. Okay, now we moved past our guide, so we're gonna have to do this. Yeah. Hey Roy Batty, how you doing? Karen Belmont's with us. I said hi to everybody like basically earlier. Daisy and Zoe didn't say hi to. How you doing, guys? Donald Kunzer's joined us. Autopilot, how are you, man? And Sally Forth, I think I said hello to you. And you say you're cold. Uh-oh, that's no good. No good. Alright. So, I am going to see about this. I gotta just check something here. I'm checking the focus here just a little bit. Yeah, okay. Alright, give me a moment. The focus is just a little out and I want to get it a little better. Alright. We'll check it here and let's just do a quick 1 second live stack. Check the stars. Get rid of that. Okay, that looks like it will work. Alright, so what we do now is we're going to come back out of here and we're going to come back and do our 30 seconds. But we're going to also guide and get a guide star for us here. I like getting more than one, so what we're going to do is we're going to get this one, which we're going to guide on, Kapang. Then we got these others as secondaries that can be captured and used in the event of a question between one or the other of these guide star sites. Okay, so now we're going to do a live stack. Now a live stack is very simple. We're going to take an image, take a second image, align it with the first, and then we're going to stack these images on top of each other. And we're getting some wind out there. When we get wind, okay, we'll find that we're going to get a complaint from this. Like, see, it just flashes red. Yeah. And it's doing okay, because there's our nebula. Yeah, that's looking nice. It'll get better. I can see the stars have a little bit of a shape change to them. We also may have some light clouds out there. Eliza Tilde Vaughn, how are you? Nice to see you. Okay, let's do this. Let's zoom that. Alright, and then I'm just zooming my curve so I can then do this and get some more detail. As you can see, that looks really pretty. I'm going to color correct that curve a little bit. We have a, yeah, I gotta refocus. But look at this beautiful shape here, this wispiness down here. This is very beautiful in the Heart Nebula, it's called. There's a lot going on in here. Yeah, so what I'm going to do, it's a little bit out of focus, so here's what I'm going to do. Since you want perfect shots and we don't want bad shots, I'm going to just come back here and I'm going to refocus right here. So that's what I'm going to do. Yeah, okay, let's see what we're looking at here. We're going to stop the guiding right there. I may actually have brought it to a good focus just now. Looks like I did. Well, then we don't have to wait. Okay. Now, I'm also going to increase our sensitivity, here the gain, to 250. And you'll notice something when the first photo comes in. It's going to be a little grainy. And as we keep stacking, all that grain disappears because that's average noise that is different for each frame. And as we keep stacking on together, the data keeps stacking thicker and thicker, making the faint objects brighter and brighter. And the other objects around it, the data that's noise, ends up getting averaged out and looks darker and darker, which is really cool. So, 30 seconds in, 30 seconds, here we go. And now we'll come out of our low light mode and go into deep sky mode. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Mundus, I wanted to say Mundus Finite is with us. Mundus is in Colorado, and I just found out today that there's a site in Colorado that may be able to host us. And that makes 2 sites in Colorado. I have 2 telescopes in Arizona. There's one, there we go. There's one in Wickenburg's area, Wickenburg, southwest of Wickenburg. And then there's one in the Sonoran Desert, outside of Sonoran, out in Benson, which is what we're using tonight. Okay, so we have one in Benson, we have one in Wickenburg area. And this particular telescope that we're using now is on a 3,400 foot mountain. I'm sharing it with 9 other professional astronomers. And we're actually we're getting lots of imagery. Just to show you, I'm going to turn the telescope up above me to the right on the view, and there's another telescope sticking out of its building, see? So there's other astronomers doing work right now. Not just me. Okay. Now, that said, this is the core of the Heart Nebula, and I can see that I can see we're getting some wind noise, so I'm going to delete that. And let's make sure our guiding, yeah, that's what I thought. I guess the guiding, I needed to start guiding and I had not, and that was dumb. Okay. Alright, now I'm guiding. And so this next photo probably will be bad too. If not, we'll keep it. But let's see what it looks like. Oh, you know what? Not bad. Not bad. And it won't accept any photos that will screw up the picture, because I also have this full width half maximum filter going. And this guy is interesting because, see, we know that a 9.55 won't make, oblong stars. So if we bring down this level, anything above that will get rejected. All right. So if something comes in, it means the wind blew things around and screwed up an image, and we won't accept it. See, that's 9.09. So that's 2 now that we have here. So we're going to keep stacking like this, and this will give us a final set of stacked images that are all good. This noise you see between all the data, this stuff is going to get averaged out and it's going to get darker and darker. Now what we can do to simulate that is take this mid-level, which is like this noise, and I can drop it down, and you'll see that it's going to get a little better looking, alright? But it also looks a little dimmer. That's because we're dimming the noise, but the noise is also inside the nebula stuff too, right? Now we can overdo it and go way up toward the peak, and of course we see, wow, there's lots of data in there. We can't see it like that yet. We want to see it when we have this little bit of noise, a very small amount of noise. So what we do is we take more exposures, stack more images, and as we stack, we can move this mid-level a little closer to the peak, a little closer. And this dark level here, this black level, this ideally is just placed before the peak. And this will be the maximum darkness that we can get without losing data. If I go further than that, watch what happens. Right? So we take that and go past that peak. Now look, only the brightest red stuff will be visible. And sometimes we want that. Sometimes for analysis, that's something we'll use in astronomy. But because we're doing photos that people want to see that are cool, we're going to drag this a little to the left like I've just done. And what this does is it allows some of this other faint nebulous detail to show up as well. This is a very, very complex region of the universe right here. All right? And it's a part of what's called the Heart Nebula. And just another thing too, if we look here, okay, this is where we are right now. And that square, that red square, is our field of view. You'll notice as we get closer, it's on an angle, and you'll notice that the writing's upside down. That's because it's upside down, okay? And so we are basically, we have, as an upside down image, that's because the telescope is at the angle that it's at. The telescope's looking back and looking up, so it's upside down. Okay? And that's how that works. And I might... Yeah, so anyway, now what we can do is we can zoom in and you can see how this looks. There's a really interesting little loop here of hydrogen gas that's being blown by a bright star in the region, and the solar wind is pushing it out. But we also have dark nebula in here, and we don't quite see that yet. We can do a very, very do it this way. Pull this down. Okay, we can do a very big over processing shot right here just to kind of push everything to see what's there. And this kind of gives you an idea of what's hiding back there. So you can see there's a lot hiding in here. Okay. And we come back, it's like, oh, now it's no longer on steroids. But we can pull this in the mid-level and actually start to approach that. Really cool. Mundus Finite says, we're fortunate to be at 7,600 feet in the desert climate, roughly Bortle 2. Are you near? Are you near? Is it Alamosa? Southwestern Colorado? That's another site that we may have a telescope put in, and that'll be 7,500 feet. I did a Skywatch out there last year, and they've invited me back to do a Skywatch. But they would also, and it's also Bortle too, and they have suggested that they would love to help us put a telescope on their properties. So it's extremely beautiful out there, and they believe in dark sky. And it's the San Luis Valley. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's cool. And I got word of another Colorado site today near Greeley that may be a potential site for us as well. And that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. we are a non-profit organization, you know, so we don't. I don't take any money for what I do, you know. Karen Belmont asks, what happens when you're in the southern hemisphere, like Australia? Well, there's a bunch of Australian viewers, and I've asked them to put out feelers for us, because I would love to have a southern hemisphere telescope. I've never ever seen the southern sky. I'm a bad astronomer, as Daryl would say. I didn't even tell Daryl that I'm streaming tonight. This is sort of a last minute thing. So I didn't give him any warning. But if he wants to come in for the next stream, he can certainly come in. He's always welcome. Okay. This is coming in great. We have 13 frames stacked. See that right here? 13 frames. All right, that is right here. 13 frames. All right. This is our histogram. This is our black level. This white line here, this is an average of the red, green, and blue curves. All right, in the sensor, it has red, green, and blue pixels, and this is an average of those curves, all those together. And so as we move down here, okay, this is all of our data, right? And the white curve is the average, and that's the one that we process to, all right? So that's how that works, all right? Okay. All right, hold on one second. Sorry, just turning on the heat. It is Connecticut. Temperature outside is about 26 degrees. And look who's here. Aurelio is with us. Aurelio Maraca from Danbury Library. Aurelio runs the most incredible UFO conference that he has in Danbury every year. I love speaking there because he's such a great host. Aurelio, thank you so much for coming in. And by the way, he's friends with Eric Idle. And Eric Idle said some good things about SkyTour Livestream. That's right. So that's pretty cool. So that's Aurelio. He's here. And then Marianne Robb is here. Marianne is very important to SkyTour. Without her, none of this would happen. Because she is our Chief Financial Officer for the organization. And she's also a former police officer. 30 plus years, 35 years as a police officer. And you want to know something? She also has an organization called UAPPD, Unknown Aerial Phenomenon. I know she says anomalous. I say unknown aerial phenomenon. And then PD is police department. And so, in other words, she collects stories from police departments and police, law enforcement folks all over the country, in the world actually, and is putting together a compendium and does talks all over the place. So she's quickly establishing herself, and Dave Rich, her partner in this crazy effort, is being leaders in this arena. And that's Marianne right there in the chat. So say hi to her if you can. Yeah. Marianne, you are also a mod. I don't know if you even know what that means, but you're allowed to put in links. You can put in a link to uappd.com if you want. So people can just put in www.uappd.com. It'll come through. Yeah, Karen. Aurelio is a friend of Eric Idle, and Aurelio told him that he was watching SkyTour Livestream, and Eric, I forget what Eric said. Aurelio will tell you. I'd like to meet Eric Idle. It'd be cool. I told Aurelio that if I was going to speak at this conference, I'm only going to speak if Eric Idle was there, and of course he wasn't. But I still spoke anyway, because it's a great conference. It's a lot of fun. Oh yeah, that's gorgeous, man. Now let's see if we can get a, this is the indicator. This is the center of the Heart Nebula that we're at right now. and it's IC1805. And what we're going to do is we're going to set that as the target name up here. And so when you go to look for this, it's going to be there as that object, IC1805 Heart Nebula. Okay, and we'll save this image with the annotations. Eliza has a question. Will you be attending Contact in the Desert again? Yes, I've been invited. I will be speaking, and I'm going to be doing like 3 or 4 talks, along with a Skywatch, probably with Ben Hansen. I do that every year with him. He says Eric loves astronomers. Yeah, right. That's cool. So I will be there, Eliza. Okay, so this is on here. And let's save this with 23 images. There we are. Save exactly as seen. So this image is now right there. I will drop this down and bring this a little bigger so you can see this growing here. So as you notice, as the image gets better, or we have stacked more, the image is getting cleaner and cleaner and cleaner. It's looking really good. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, the Eric Idle for Monty Python and Monty Python's Flying Circus. And always look on the bright side of life. Do-do, do-do, do-do. Yep. That Eric Idle. That's Eric. That's Aurelio's friend, Eric Idle. And Aurelio's right here in Danbury, Connecticut. Who knew? When he told me that, I nearly fell off the chair I was sitting in. Yeah. Aurelio knows a lot of famous people. He's hiding it. Yes, and Tiffany, who is Star Panda 12 here, is saying, we will be doing giveaways again. Now, you may remember that we give away binoculars, telescopes, and we're going to be doing night vision as we grow for people. And we've given away a bunch of binoculars, a few telescopes, and we're going to be doing that again. And Star Panda is Tiffany. Very nice. And here it is, UAPPD.com from Marianne Robb. Yep. We help police officers and first responders with encounters they had that they could not explain and never talk about. And there's a lot of reasons they don't. Remember, pilots could never talk about sightings they saw from their pilot seats because, in the cockpit, because they would get, told they saw nothing or you need to get a psychological evaluation. Well, it's sort of the same for police, and that problem has sort of lagged a little bit. Police are more free to talk about these things, but there's still a burden on them, and so they tend to stay a little bit quiet about it. And that's what we got Marianne for. She and Dave Rich will go over there and just pull stuff out of them that frees them from having to sit on this and not have anyone to be supportive, not support them. Look at that. It almost looks 3D, doesn't it? That's just a gorgeous nebula. And there's Water Rat. That's Matt. Matt used to work here at my shop here. I have a visual effects shop called FX Models, and he is a former worker. He used to work here. We're still good friends, and he's always welcome to come back when he gets some time. But he's got a son in the military. He's got a beautiful daughter, a lovely wife, and they're of course cranking away on their own stuff. But as I said, always welcome to come back. Matt, I won't even charge you to come in the building. Mundus Finite says, beautiful shot. Yeah, this is just the core of the Heart Nebula, because this particular camera is in an extremely narrow field, so we're only looking at only like 20 by 20 arc seconds and 20 arc minutes. Let me go and tell you what exactly. Just zoom in on this That square is our field of view. And it is, yeah, it's 20 by 20 basically, 19.8 by 19.8 arc minutes. Now an arc minute, okay, to put that in perspective, okay, the moon is 30 arc minutes across, okay, and there's 60 arc minutes in a degree, right? So 2 full moons next to each other is 1 degree of sky, and this is, like I said, this field of view is 20 arc minutes, so you can't fit the full moon in our view. The moon fills the entire view, so that's kind of the amount of sky that we see. This is coming out nice. In spite of the little bit of light clouds we have up there, this is coming out beautiful. Really nice. Hey Toner, nice to see you. C&D boy, I asked you before, your name is Bob, right? I don't remember seeing a response. You probably responded every time I asked, but I just didn't see the response. I thought your name is Bob. Let me see what my mic is that I'm using. That's a good question. I thought I am using, yeah, I'm using the right mic. There might be a little tiny buzz. I'm gonna have to figure that out. Maybe, let me try something else.
Okay, how about this? Is this any better? Because if this is better, then that's good. So tell me what this sounds like. Yeah, Bob on Vancouver Island. Okay, very good. Yes, that's cool. Vancouver, so you were... Oh, that's pretty cool. So when that guy stole the plane, did you see that taking place live? He crashed on that island. Yeah. Hey, Eliza Vaughn got the UAP PD shirt. That's fantastic. Cyclone's with us. Yeah, there's a louder buzz. Ugh. I gotta fix this. I've tried to troubleshoot it, and it seemed like it was okay for a period of time. Let me try something else. I hate having to deal with this. You know, this is crazy. Alright, is this worse or better? How bad is the buzz in the background? Matt says, have you heard about the guy who is suing the Canadian Space Agency for falsifying space? Oh. Yeah. Okay, worse. Alright. Let's try this. And this. Okay, how about now? If that's worse, I'll go worser, Daisy and Zoe says. I'll wait for one more because there's time delay. Yeah. Worser. Worser and worser. Yeah, let me know. Well, Matt says it sounds good to him. Well, maybe you just have tinnitus, Matt. Okay. All right. Well, that's good then. So maybe it's a little better. I think I can manage that. I think I see what the problem is. So I'm going to work with this. So this, I'm going to say that I'm going to guess that this is probably better now. Even better, hopefully. Anyway, I think I'm good here. I'll operate on that premise, unless I see otherwise. Need to make it gooder. And then Rascally Rabbit's here. Hey, Rascally, what's up? Okay, so let's try this. I know this is one of those pains in the neck, you know, but I'm gonna try and find the happy medium. I think it's about time to get some new hardware. It really is. All right. Okay. I don't know what to do about this. All right, let's try this here again and see whether this helps. This is the, I think this is kind of where it's going to end up staying until I get a new setup. Now Tiffany's saying, oh no, it's louder now. Alright, some are saying it's louder, some are saying it's better. I don't know what the right answer is. Okay. Well, in any case, I will have that corrected for the next stream. So I'm not sure what's going on with it now, but we'll try to do something here. Alright, that's about the best I can do right now. Alright, so this object then that we're looking at is the, like I said, the heart of the Heart Nebula. And we have, I'm going to bring this back. Alright, and we're locked in again. And now I'm going to save it. Alright, and then save it exactly as seen, and then we'll have it. Boom. Here we are. And so now this object, this is a beautiful, that's a reflection nebula down here. So it's reflecting, this star is reflecting directly off the dust. It's gotta just be so beautiful, and to see that live, I think that's cool. You know, and the stars are shaping some of this gas here too. It's neat. Very cool. Very nice. All right. All right, so what we're going to do is save it here because it's life, and it's the answer to life, the universe, and everything. 42. So we'll save that. And now we'll come out of this, and this is now going to be available up online for you. All right. So now we're going to go to our low light mode. There we are. And back here, there's a couple things we can do. All right. Now, we can go to some of these other nebulae, or we can actually take a stab at some of the other things that might be interesting over here. Like, if we come down in here, we have this guy known as the Flaming Star Nebula. This is an unbelievable location, and we're going to check this one out too. So we're going to go right now. And we're going to turn off our guiding for the moment. All right. And so let's capture our location. Yep. And what we'll do now is bring that right into the center. It's a tenth of a degree away. So you'll see the stars move for a moment. There they go. And then we see this moving it in. Okay. Now what we're going to do is let's see if it knows any of the stars here. It knows where it is, but it doesn't have any values for any of the stars here. That's okay. We don't need them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a test shot to see where we are in terms of the nebula, because you never know really. Do a 15-second quickie, and then I'll move us as needed. Cyclone, yes, I do. It's an XLR. Okay, this is going to move. This star comes down. All right. Okay, and then we'll bring it down. And then like that. There we are. And bring it down. Okay. Flaming Star is just a beautiful location. There's a lot going on here. Yeah. I would try that. Okay. All right, I may end the stream if the sound is that bad. I'm not gonna make you guys listen to this. All right, let's see here. Let me do a 25-second photo just to see what's going on. Okay, I see the nebulas in here. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make a change here. And let's see, we do this. All right, and do 25 seconds here. And this should be over here. That's not where the flaming star is. It should be here. Now let's do this. Let's grab its... Yeah, it's showing us the same image before. I see nebula. I gotta just grab my right. There's so much here that it's hard to find the exact spot. I want to be up here. So, actually right here. So let me just try this. Let me just say, if I go there, okay, and then go here. Okay. Now let me try it and see if it's right where I want it to be. Again, 25 seconds. Well, the heater went off just now, so you have to let me know. I don't think that's the reason. But I just turned it off, so we'll see. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so we're going to live stack this, and then we're going to do a new guiding run on this. There we go. Perfect guide star. Look at that beautiful peak. We want that peak. Yeah, lots of stars in there. We're going to just move that out of there. And then drop this down. There we are. And then shrink this down. It's not guiding perfectly yet, so we'll guide that. All right. Yep, not the heater. Now I'm going to tear this apart tomorrow and figure out what's causing it. How about now? I just made another change. I powered something else off. That beautiful reflection nebula there and this beautiful red nebula. This is called the flaming star because it looks like it's flaming. It looks like flames coming off of it. I thought it was my cell phone charger. I unplugged that. Evan, how are you? Thank you. He says it's CMB noise. Cosmic microwave background noise. That's funny, Evan. Yeah. Okay, we're still getting some elongated stars, so we're getting some a little bit of wind that's blowing on our scope. If you look, our scope's sticking straight up out of the building. It's kind of like a flag, but we're not the only scope sticking up like that, as I mentioned. So interesting. Let's find out. And let me know if anything changes, by the way. Yeah. Okay, Sally Forth, thank you for messaging me later. I don't know what's causing it, but I'm going to figure it out. You know, I mean, all I'm trying to do is bring people free astronomy. How hard is that? How hard can that be? Apparently pretty hard. I'm moving stuff around here. Alright. Evan says, where's the scope? The scope, right here's like there, is out in Benson, Arizona. And I'm in Connecticut, so it's about 2,600 miles away. So, yeah. I figured out how to, remotely access stuff and start using it this way. And it's working pretty well. The sound's a little strange, but you know what? I'll fix that. Let me look at something one more time here. Just a sec.
Alright, well, I'll try this one. Okay, this is a different mic. So tell me if this one's better, if it has a buzz or not. And I will, I'll just use this one for the rest of the stream. Meanwhile, okay, see, toner low says fixed. Okay, so this guy is a problem. Now, it may sound a little more tinny, but, right now, I'll just let that go. So, it's that mic. Okay, easy enough. Hey, it's easier for me, Okay, put that here, Alright. Thank you for helping me figure this out, and we'll go from here. Okay. Yeah, we're getting wind out there. Look at that. It's actually blowing our sky around. And I gotta clear this because only two of my exposures came in. So I need to start again. I should still be guiding. Yeah, guiding is going okay. But I was getting a little bit of fluctuation there from the wind. Alright, so there's the first one. That looks good. So I'll raise this to here. Alright. I want to stay below the dotted line. So 13.02 gives us round stars at this location in the sky. So what I'll do is this. Yeah, there's just a touch of echo. That's okay. I'll deal with it. C&D Boy, thank you for putting up our link. Yeah, it's also skytourlive.org as well. Yeah, nice. Here we go. Yeah. Okay, we captured 2. We're doing 25 seconds. So this nebula is beautiful because it has this red hydrogen emission in it, and it's got this beautiful bluish or blue reflection component. Now, the universe is basically a few colors. All right. Now, we know that the spectra of things is red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and violet, right? So what about the spectrum of a star? Well, the star, like our sun, has those colors in it. And the spectrum of a nebula is very different. The spectrum of a nebula depends on what's in the nebula. And if it's hydrogen gas, hydrogen's spectrum is the result of electrons moving around and doing stuff, gaining energy and losing energy. And when an electron in a hydrogen atom is so excited by ultraviolet energy from a star, say like this one right there, okay, what it might do is the electrons around here in this hydrogen gas will absorb this energy and start to go higher in the atom, in a higher orbit around the atom effectively, and thus they might get to a state where they're no longer bound to the atom. That's called an ionized state. And when they're outside the atom like that, well, they don't want to be outside the atom like that. They're -1 charge. Protons are +1 charge. So in this charged state, okay, the opposites still attract, and as the electron loses energy by bumping into things out there, like other electrons, then what will happen is that electron will fall back into the atom. And when it does, it gives off light as it drops in, as it gives off that energy. It's in the form of light. And in the hydrogen atom's case, it's this red color that we see all throughout this nebula. All this red is hydrogen emission that is the result of the electron rejoining the atom. But then we have this blue up here. This blue is very different. This blue that we see is blue for the same reason that our sky is blue, and I've talked about this. When sunlight comes through our atmosphere, right, Earth is curved, right, when the sun's on the horizon, it's going through more atmosphere to get to your eyes. And so the molecules in our atmosphere will absorb and then re-emit in all directions the blue light. It loves to just bounce blue light back out, but it's indiscriminate. It'll bounce it everywhere. That's why in our daytime sky, the sky is blue. And guess what? That blue is the same color blue we see here, right? Because it's blue for the same reason that our sky is blue, okay? It's these electrons that are kicking out, or just these molecules absorbing and kicking out the blue light. It's scattering the blue light, okay? And in the case of the atmosphere, it's molecules of oxygen and nitrogen that are doing this job, right? But in the case of nebula, what's doing the scattering effect is the dust grains that are out in the universe. This is all dust out here. This is all dust. You'll see some right here. See this dark little area right here? This dark area right there, that's dust, right? A little streak of it right there, right? There's dust all throughout here. Where does this dust come from, you might say, or might ask? Well, it comes from previous stars that were destroyed in a supernova. It comes from red giants that are making dust in their outer atmospheres and then sloughing it off as they go into other red giant states where they start to pulsate and push off this stuff into the universe. It's like Pigpen and Charlie Brown and Peanuts gang. It's always, these stars are always surrounded by dust. And so these are really, really interesting to see how this works, you know. So we're seeing this dust in here. We're seeing this dark dust. This is all dust in here. And the best way to see that is in our histogram here. If we pull this way in, okay, you can start to see, yes, this is dust right here. This is a large dust cloud, and it has a density of hydrogen near this side, okay? Okay, and so the same thing with over here. This is a dust cloud and dark dust in here that's sort of overlaying the nebula behind it, okay? And that happens a lot in the universe. We see that. We'll see that with some of the other objects in just a few moments, all right? So this is something that's really basically a basic tenet of the universe. It actually is something that happens because of dust clouds out in the universe that are scattering the blue light from the stars, and so we'll see it blue like our blue sky for the same reason. The red is due to hydrogen gas being ionized, and then those electrons coming back in and giving off red light. It's called hydrogen alpha, or H2, where the 2 is a Roman numeral 2. And so oxygen does the same thing. You can ionize oxygen as well, but in the case of oxygen, it makes a beautiful teal green color, teal bluish green, and that color is due to not scattering like this here, which is what that process is. It's actually due to another atomic transition. 2 electrons are ionized off the oxygen atom, and when they come back in, they predominantly go to a level that causes them to release a teal blue light burst. And that's something that is very interesting in the universe. So the colors of the universe, typically of nebulae, are red, blue, and greenish blue. That's typically what we see. Now, there are other colors that we see, but those are kind of illusions. And the reason that they're illusions is because sometimes we'll see a red nebula inside of a blue reflection nebula like this. And those make a sort of a magenta colored red nebula, because the blue and the red are kind of interfering with each other and adding together to make a magenta color. It's really interesting. We'll see one of those hopefully tonight. I see the object I want. It's like right there in the sky. Right there. We can see it. Right. So we've got 16 taken here. Let's actually let's do this and make our view a little better. Now you can see the colors better. So you got this blue reflection nebula. This is all dust being illuminated here. All dust. This is starting to look more like dust. We're going to go just a couple more. And then we'll go to the next item up for bids here on The Price is Right. Or The Sky is Right, right? Yep. Okay, just a moment. So, you can see how this really looks like a dark nebula now. Alright, it's a dark dust cloud. These stars are probably up here in the foreground, and the nebula is probably in the background. In fact, you might say, well, how far is that nebula? Well, we might be able to tell. It looks like the distance of this nebula is about the same distance as the Orion Nebula from us. It's about 1,500 light years from us. The Orion Nebula is about 1,500 light years from us. So that's pretty cool. Oh, I'm a little hot here on my mic, aren't I? Sorry about that. There we go. That's a little better. All right. Daisy says, Daisy and Zoe, are there potentially undiscovered colors? I don't think so. You know, that's the rainbow is the rainbow. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. And there's blue in between blue and violet. There's indigo, right? It's a shade of blue. But there aren't really any other colors available than those. Now, I don't know how colors might appear if we were looking in a different dimension. So maybe there's another dimension that could potentially cause colors to be a little bit different looking, but I'm not sure. But that's a very interesting question. Eliza says, are any of the surrounding stars located inside of the nebula? Oh, I didn't see that when I said this before. Yes, some of these stars are. Like, most likely, these stars here are inside the gas and dust of the nebula, maybe these two. This one is probably inside the gas and dust of the nebula, maybe firing up this nebula. Okay, so you got to remember this is all in 3 dimensions. So some of this stuff is closer to us, some of it's farther away. So that said, we're going to see that this is all in 3 dimensions. And I mean, to see it in 3 dimensions, it looks like this to us, but you turn it around and it looks all different from all different sides. Because it is 3-dimensional clouds we're looking at, not a 2-dimensional representation. So this streak right here may be way farther in than this patch right here. Okay? This streak might be way farther in than this patch. This might be closer to us entirely, and these are all farther away. We don't know. Well, we do. If we go look at studies online, we might find that a study of the Flaming Star Nebula has been done that might show us where all these things are relative to each other. Okay, I'm going to name this Flaming Star. There we are. And now I will save it with 26 shots. Save exactly a scene. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty. Okay. Again, this will be at skytourlive.org. You can go up there and download it if you prefer. And, you know, it's just right there, skytourlive.org. And you can go, they're all free. Alright, nothing we do is we charge for. But I'm going to come out now as we're going to go to the next item. But I will say that it's kind of cool to actually explore the universe and bring you along with me. This is nice. Alright, so let's back out of this now. And let's come back in. Let's go over to Orion. Because I want to take you to this location right here. This is called the Running Man Nebula. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And you see the telescope is heading for it right now. Alright, let's stop this. Oh yeah. We're definitely near the Running Man. I recognize these 3 stars. Okay. So, let me first bring us over a little bit. Right up there. Maybe a little down here. Okay. Now, doesn't look like much, does it? No, it doesn't. But I have a feeling you're going to really like what shows up after just a few seconds. Alright, let's get our guide star. Oh, we got some wind. See that? We blew around. Alright. We'll still try and figure it out. Alright. Okay. I gotta pull this back a little bit because I don't want to be that far over. I want to be right about here, I believe. Let me come back in here now. Move down here to the object in question. Yes, the Orion Nebula is right nearby. We may be looking at that too. Alright, but we want to look. Alright, we got those 3 stars there. And then right behind them, alright, right behind these 3 stars, we have a dark cloud, which is going to be very, very nice to see. And you're going to enjoy that. You really will. So, let's go. And we have that star. Alright, so this should be good. Let me just do a quick shot here. You know what? I don't need to do a quick shot. Let's just go for it. We'll do a 35-second photo of this object here. Let's get our guide stars. What are guide stars? Guide stars are stars that we can align on and the telescope can use and keep in the middle of the view so that we can actually automatically keep the telescope lined up on the object we're looking at. Alright, so we are now guiding, and we're guiding well with that beautiful pointy peak. That's good. Alright, so coming back here, 35-second photo is underway. And we'll go into the low light mode and go into our live stack. Alrighty. Now this you're gonna like. You're gonna like this. Remember I talked about reflection nebula and the color change if you have a red nebula inside of a blue nebula? Well, guess what? Here we got one. Watch this. Look at that. A little bit fuzzy because of the fact that it's high gain. But you know what? There's that dark cloud. This is beautiful, and it goes down a little more here. So this is a beautiful nebula. I'm going to drop this down to 150 and do it again. Now we've been doing it at 250, and it's going to be a mix now of the two. But we don't need to have it all the way down, so we can. I'm going to clear one more. What this does is it gets rid of a lot of the noise when that gain is lower. So I'm trying to keep us out of that. Hey there, Fred Phonebone. How are you doing? Eliza says, are there any examples of gravitational lensing out there you can show us? I haven't prepared anything about gravitational lensing, so not tonight. But you know what? I will do that. I will try to get you, see if I can do a gravitational lens image. It's going to be tough because they tend to be really faint. You know? Let's see what's going on in chat here. Sam S is giving Christmas wishes. Very nice. Alright, so now this nebula is, if I show you here, this is more the correct color. Notice the red emission nebula in here is almost magenta. This is what I was telling you before. This is part of the issue. Now I gotta move this guy off the slope a little bit. I'll bring this down. See that? This is a dark dust cloud that is up here and it's blocking the nebula behind it. And you will actually see that much clearer. We've only got 3 frames captured right now. So only 105 seconds we've done so far. But as we move forward, you will definitely see a change in how this looks. Really nice. So this is the Running Man Nebula. Very complex region, lots of dark dust in here. This entire region in space is an area that's part of a greater complex called the Orion Molecular Cloud Complex, the OMCC. And the Orion Molecular Cloud Complex is a place where, of course, we see molecules, molecular clouds, carbon, silicates, other combinations of atoms yielding molecules out here. And in the end, these become molecules that are the molecules that form the fundamentals of life. And so we find that in these nebulae, in particular in these dark nebulae, these cold, dark clouds, this is the region where we'll find the basically the building blocks of life being made. All right, I've always said this. You've heard me 1,000 times. Life began in the dark, and so it has. And so in the dark is where the building blocks of life first started forming. And then when the stars that with these building blocks of life formed in the clouds, it was a let there be light situation, and we get a nebula lit up like this. Now, if there's a lot of dust around the star, then that star and its planets that it made might be protected from the hot ultraviolet radiation coming from core stars like this. And if it was protected, if these areas are protected, well, then we get a situation where we might end up with potential life on a life-bearing planet inside one of these dark nebulae. You can start to see some details now showing up here. We can actually turn on a mask, which kind of shows us a little better. You can see the light edge to this cloud here. Now there's some detail inside this dark cloud. You can see separate clouds here. They look brown. That's because that's made of a lot of silicates material and carbon atoms. A lot of beautiful location. And then again, the other thing too that we have here, we see these streaks. Orion's near the celestial equator, so we'll often find that we'll have little short streaks in our exposures of say 20 seconds. And if you ask what those little streaks are, it actually is kind of hard to fathom this, but you're actually looking at geostationary satellites, and they're in the same place every single night in the sky. However, that's in the same place over the Earth, but Earth is rotating. So as the Earth is rotating, those geostationary satellites follow the Earth. And as you see my fingers moving as we're following the Earth, but the telescope is fixed on the stars. So as the geostationary satellite is moving in the sky, the telescope's staying on the stars. And so we get a line, and that's what these are. That line is the line of a geostationary satellite, or a geostationary bird as we call it. And those satellites are leaving a trail that will never go away because they're always going to be out there. So it'll be in the same place every single night when we take a picture of the Running Man Nebula. Crazy, huh? I gotta come in here and alter this a little. We're getting some wind. I gotta get above the wind. I can see that we can handle a little higher values here. I'm not gonna go way up there. So we'll see what we get. That is just beautiful. Yeah, it's getting windy. See that? This is an indicator of our wind down there. Let's go see our guiding. Yeah. Now it's guiding, and you might say, well, then why do we have a problem? Because what happened is the wind went like this and blew the telescope around. Then it stopped. It reacquired the guiding and started guiding again. I don't want to... Yeah. It's getting even worse. Okay. Let's see where that lands. This has been climbing the whole time. We did get 5 exposures. I'm interested to see if it starts coming back down. I also, yeah, starting to come back down now, so I imagine it's going to get below our threshold in the next 1 or 2 exposures. And then we'll start getting some good ones again. We're almost there. Just think about it, the entire view. This is all interstellar nebula that we're looking at. Now, the size of this interstellar nebula, probably about 15 light years across. Orion Nebula is 24 light years across or so. Oh, it's climbing again. Okay, well, I can see maybe what I'll do. Maybe what I'll do is I'll see what I can do here. Hold on. That's beautiful though. Okay. This will be Running Man. And we will save it with the good 5 that we took. Alright. And then what we'll do is we're going to come out of this. Go back here. I'm not going to waste any more time on it when we've got wind blowing us around. Okay, and then let's bring that back to the screen there. Now we'll come here, back out of this. Now let's go down and check out this beauty. We'll just go to this spot. Yeah. Now we're at a really bright nebula. Can't miss it. This is the Orion Nebula. One of the very few nebulas that you can see with your eye. This is Messier 42, the Orion Nebula, powered by these stars in here called the trapezium. There's 4 visible, but there's more than that in here. And this is Messier 43, which is part of this nebula, but it looks like it's separate, but it's not. Again, dark dust all throughout here is in front, blocking the brighter components of the nebula behind. This is actually a perfect place to take this shot. So we're going to do this. We're going to do a 20-second shot. It doesn't take much for this nebula because it is bright. Now let's grab a star or 2 or 3. Okay. And we'll guide. Beautiful. That's beautiful. That's almost ideal. Okay, so now what we can do is get our 20-second shot going. It's underway. Okay. Let's take away the low light. If you haven't seen the Orion Nebula, you haven't seen a nebula. But here we go. Check this out. Ready? Boom. Magic. Wow. Magic. And if we zoom back out, you'll see there's a tremendous amount of detail in there. Really just tremendously detailed. And so we move this down, it will soften it and allow you to see inside. And look, in just one photo, we have all this nebula. This looks like someone's brown hair, but it's actually dust, spindles of dust that we see. Curtis Horn is here. Hey, Curtis, how you doing? Nice to see you. We checked out the double cluster, the Heart Nebula, the Running Man, and now we're doing Messier 42 and 43. Just kind of a a little busy area to show some cool features going on here. Let's do a color. Yeah, that's good. Alright, I'm going to kick the color down just a bit. I have a beautiful, see this black and white shot of the Orion Nebula? This is what we've done in the past, was black and white images. In fact, we didn't use these, we would use these, the negative. Okay, we use the negatives because we can see the stars in here and all the details of the nebula. We can actually work with black dots better than white dots in general. All right, so that's what I am as an astronomer. That's what I'm used to seeing. But you know what? This is just as beautiful, and then this allows us to see what's actually going on. Now, remember that blue color I talked to you about, reflection nebula? Alright? You don't see that here, do you? You see kind of a greenish blue nebula right there, and the red up there. So what's the red from again? You know. Hydrogen. Very good, I heard someone say it. No, I didn't. But now, here, right, this area right here, right, we're looking here at this. This area here with these brown silicate dust clouds and carbon dust clouds that we're looking at, this green area is actually this teal green, teal, that's doubly ionized oxygen in there. Now, it's interesting because if you look at oxygen, all right, one thing that's true is oxygen, all right, is the third most abundant element in the entire universe. Okay, believe it or not. The fourth most abundant element in the universe is carbon. So we see lots of dust, carbon molecules and other dust particles, and silicon, and we see lots of oxygen, right? But hydrogen is the #1 element in the universe, so we see mostly hydrogen. So most nebulas are red because it's mostly hydrogen, you know? And then look at this beautiful cloud coming out here as seen silhouetted by the doubly ionized oxygen back here. Look at this cloud. Alright, I'm going to do what I did before. Let's just go whoosh, move that down, and let's bring this up so you can see that in full view over here. Look at that. Wow. Nice. I'm liking that. And you see the true color here. This is the true color of this dust. It's brown, and you might say, "Oh, well, that's kind of like dirt." Well, it's actually it's actually just a the silicates in that region and carbon compounds that are causing that to look like that. Now, if you flew through that, would you know you're flying through it? And the answer is no. It's like, you know, that's like a light year across or so right here. So you'd just be in a region where you might have 30 atoms in a sugar cube size of space. For the record, we have on the order of 10 to the 19th or 10 to the 20th atoms in a sugar cube size of space in our air, in our atmosphere. So even more. So that's actually very, very few atoms. You wouldn't even know you were hitting atoms of silicon, okay, or carbon, you know. But that makes a cloud that is relatively dense. This cloud's even denser, right? So maybe you might have, instead of 30 atoms per sugar cube size, or cubic centimeter, you might have 2,000 or 10,000 or 30,000 atoms the denser it gets. But that's still, in fact, that's still something that is really, really considered dense for the interstellar medium like this. Now stars, different story. We can have stars like white dwarfs, where a sugar cube size of a white dwarf might weigh as much as a car, 2,000 pounds, ton, okay? we can have neutron stars, where a sugar cube size would weigh just under 1 billion tons. Okay, because they're much more compact. White dwarfs are the size of the Earth, so they pack a star, that's 1 million miles across or more, say 5 million miles across, or 30 million miles across, right? It packs that information down into something the size of the Earth, okay, which is 8,000 miles across. And then when stars even bigger than that collapse, sometimes they collapse past that stage and go down to neutron star size. And neutron stars, wow, now they're even better, because they will collapse down to the size of Manhattan Island, and thus you have a cubic centimeter of neutron star stuff, which, if you could weigh it, would weigh just under 1 billion tons or so. So we're talking about very compact objects when they're star-like. When they're nebulas, they're very, very thin. You could fly right through the Orion Nebula if you were close to it, and maybe not even know you were in a nebula. You know, it's like when you see a cumulus cloud or wispy clouds up in the sky. They look like they're solid, okay? But when you fly through them with a plane, you just feel the slight buffeting. You know, it's like, oh, we're just going through a cloud, you know, and that's all you get. You know, you don't even see it, because the particles, the water vapor particles and the ice crystals, are so far apart from each other. So you get that too. Jessica's with us. Hi, Jessica. And yeah, Cyclone says red is the color of the universe. In many ways it is. Yeah, that's right. And, Catherine Messick. Kathy Messick's with us. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. Good to see you as well. You know. So let's see now. What are people saying? I've talked to Isabella, and she's still around. She's just extremely busy. She's getting a lot of work, so she can't join us too much anymore. But that's okay. It'll change. I'm sure it'll change. Okay, this image looks like it's okay. I mean, it's doing its best to stack, and what we've got is 21 stacked, 5 ignored, and you can see why. The wind is causing some disruption out there to our images, but that's okay. That's neat though, huh? It's a beautiful region of the Orion Nebula. These stars are a little bit out of focus, and if you want, I can go and refocus. So what we'll do is this is M42. M42. What's it doing that? Caps lock key was stuck. Alright, M42 / 43. Alright, and we'll capture that and we'll save it. And we'll save it exactly as seen. Dang right. Alright. Now, what I'll do, and you say, no! But don't worry. It's got to happen. We have to do it this way. I got to refocus the telescope because these are not fully focused. So we're going to come back out and go here. We've already saved this. Not to worry. So we're not going to lose it. Alright. And now we have these stars. Let me try something right here. Yeah, that worked. I was able to grab the focus just by doing that. Let me I'll move to a different spot in this nebula as well. Okay. We'll come back to this. Alright. So now what we'll do is go to a different area, which is actually something really interesting, because as we come down here, okay, we're going to go this way. And you're going to see a bright line right up here. I want to show you that. That's a truly interesting place. That's a true oxygen arm of the Orion Nebula. And you'll see it in just a sec. I'll leave this just a little bit because this is all detail in here that you want to see. Okay, there's the trapezium, the 4 stars that illuminate this whole location. So let's go and grab our stars. Let's do that. Good. And go. Beautiful star for guiding, and that's fine. Again, sorry for the earlier sound issues. I'm running with the webcam sound now and not the professional sound. I've taken it out of the system effectively. So I think it's time to figure out a simpler way. Okay. Okay, so we come back in here, we're guiding fine. Now we're going to come in here and just do a 25-second photo. Alright. Very good, very good. Okay, so we're looking for the hydrogen here, and the oxygen arc right here. You ready? Check it out. It'll be here in just a moment. And go. Boom. So let's drop this down. Look at this. So now, you look at the convolution here. It looks so sharp-edged. So sharp-edged in here. That's actually, that's like seeing a sharp-edged cumulus cloud in the sky, and as soon as you get up to it, it's fuzzy, and you don't really know where it begins and ends, right? Well, that's what's going on here. This is a cloud. This is cloud light years long. Light years long. So in other words, if this star is the Sun, and this star is Alpha Centauri, we're well within this. We don't even realize that we're inside of a nebula, for instance. Now, we only just recently figured that maybe, possibly, we're inside of a dark dust cloud. And that dark dust cloud is the same one, perhaps, that the Pleiades are surrounded by. When we look at photos of the Pleiades, you see this beautiful dark dust that's all over the place around the stars, and it's actually illuminated by the stars, and it's blue because it's actually this scattered nebula, like we see the scattered dust nebula, like we see in our sky with the blue sky. Well, that same dust cloud that the Pleiades is bathed in is potentially one that we're bathed in. Now, the Pleiades are 400 light years away and have over 1,000 stars in the cluster overall, with the main 7 sisters. Okay, and they represent a nearby star system that could very well extend to us in terms of the clouds. Now, keep in mind that the Pleiades are going one way. Those stars are going one way as a group, but the dust clouds are going another way. What it means is the stars are just passing through the dust cloud. They're not born there. Otherwise, they'd be traveling with it. But they're not. They're passing each other in the night. And we just happen to be at that point in history where the Pleiades are illuminating the dark dust with their light. So this one image right here, which looks almost like an artist's spilled paint palette, is actually, let me get rid of this again, and make this bigger. This spilled paint palette picture is actually all gas and dust. Isn't this incredible? Look how sharp that looks. I would love to be at a star nearby and look out and see if I could see this line. It'll be very, very thick, and it might, to us, might look like a transition, maybe of one, basically one color to the next very subtly. Because if you were right on this line, right here, you wouldn't know that this is oxygen and this is hydrogen unless you took a long exposure. You might see a sea of oxygen in your sky and a sea of hydrogen in another part of the sky and not really know exactly what it is, you know. But this illustrates perfectly how these elements are distributed in the interstellar medium. They're all over the place, and you got to understand too the origin of the Orion Nebula here. This is like a blister on top of a molecular cloud. So it's an area where 4 stars form, these hot stars in the middle here called the trapezium. Let me actually show you the trapezium if I can by dropping my visual here. Yeah, they're just starting to be visible. Let me make them even more visible. Alright, so let's do this. It's becoming ghostly now. Okay, let's see if that worked. Yep, there they are. There's the 4 stars in the trapezium right there. The nice thing about this camera is it has something called high dynamic range. So we have hidden data in here that we can see. We can also get rid of the oversaturated areas and show you the detail in here. And that's precisely what we're seeing here. Let me go just quickly to enhancement. Good, we're running there. That's good. Alright, so we have 14 images stacked here. And you'll notice that it's looking cleaner and cleaner, not a whole lot of noise. We are at 150 gain, so we dropped it down. This camera's ideal at 100 gain, but I want a little more oomph, a little more to see in the amount of time that we have. Alright, so what I'm going to do is come in here, go back to the histogram. Now that you see the trapezium, which is lighting up all these things, it's lighting up the hydrogen, it's lighting up the oxygen. And let's go to the histogram and let's pull our mid-level back to the left a bit. It's going to sharpen up some details. And look how deep our data is. It's got a lot going on. Now, by bringing this back, we've blown out the trapezium down there, right? And we're going to bring out some of the fainter details here, which is where we want it, right there. I mean, that's where we're going to go. I have 2 screens. All right, so let's do this. And there you go. So now, where you saw what you thought might have been space, now you see that we're seeing more oxygen emission here and more dark dust, more dark nebula. Look at that. and more of this. Look at how detailed this material is in here. This is really incredible. And it's all mixed in. The universe makes a soup, a primordial soup. You know? The trapezium is completely blown out, and that means it's oversaturated. And to that end, we get to see all the detail up here, the subtle detail. And this is with 19 stacked. 19 images stacked. Really pretty. Let me there we are. Let me do this. When you bring it down smaller, you can kind of see it better. And I'm not doing it just to get this back up, but it is something that does help. That's incredible. Fred Phonebone. Oh, Curtis Horn says, very nice. Yeah, it's pretty. It's a beautiful location. Often underestimated because there's so much detail in here, you know. So much detail to be had. We can, zoom into this too. Now you see all the subtlety in here, the subtle detail in here. Look at that. Now, it's possible that because of the density of material in here, and because of the ionization states of some of the gas, we know that means that this gas is electrically charged, right? Because we know that when 2 electrons leave an atom, that's 2 -1 charges going, and that leaves 2 +1 charges on the atom, meaning that it has a +2 charge in there. Okay, and a -2 for the 2 electrons. So we end up with a case where we have these charged electrons, and charged protons. And what that might be doing is it might be influencing the shape of this material. Some of these filaments could be shaped by electricity out here in this region. And that's what's pretty interesting to see here. Jessica says, great capture. Thank you, Jessica. It's nice to have you all out here with us tonight. And Alicia Vieras is with us. Hi, Alicia. How are you? Nice to see you. How is Darlene? Look at this. Look at this. This looks like streaks of hair, doesn't it? Look at that. Wow. That is so cool. That is so cool. I mean, you can't deny how interesting that looks. I also had something else to show you, which I think... Alright, yeah, we can see it here. So, see this cloud? This oxygen cloud here? Do you notice how the red is showing through it? What's that telling you? It's telling you that this oxygen cloud is sitting in front of the red cloud behind it. So this is over the top. This here is over the top of this strand of oxygen. So they're kind of mixed in with each other, see? This part is above this part, which is all connected. So in 3D, this strand leading to this section of oxygen would be underneath this hydrogen. But then this is over the top of it, which says this is farther away than this. This is farther away than that. So, and this, on the other hand, is on top of this. So maybe these and this are about the same distance, or elevation away from us, effectively, above that red. and this goes up toward us out of the page and then arcs over. So this is deeper in. So, just by studying the shapes and the look of a nebula, you can actually come to some conclusions, and not all of it is correct. But for the most part, you're making good assumptions. Alicia says, I'm good. Darlene finished her first cheer competition this season and won first place. Oh, that girl, her ego is going to go right through the roof. You're going to create a monster, Alicia. You're creating a monster. She's a pretty little monster. I like it. She's a cute kid. Yeah, this is something. No, it's... Yeah, I wanted you to see that transparency going on there. And that depth. You see the difference in the depth. Let me shrink this down a little bit. Yeah, that's something. Okay, we're gonna do this. Yeah, we're gonna call M42 O3 detail. O3 is the doubly ionized oxygen. That's O Roman numeral 3. So you might say, well, wait, why isn't it O2? Because O1 is the base state. In other words, the state where it has all its electrons. It doesn't have any net charge. O2 is a singly ionized oxygen atom, where one electron is left. And we leave off the O1 when we talk about things like hydrogen. We say just hydrogen. We don't say hydrogen 1, Roman numeral 1, because that just means hydrogen with all of its electron. It's only electron. So it's a little confusing. It's sort of like a one-ahead thing. So O3 is doubly ionized oxygen, and that's what the detail is we're looking at here. Alright, save exactly as seen. There we go. That's 35. Okay, so let's come out of here. Alright. Let's bring us back to here. I think we're high enough now to go check out another cool object that we're going to look at. And that is down here. I'm going to go into some more dust and debris. And we're going to head down there now. So check this out. This is an interesting location, an interesting star with an interesting history that I'm about to show you. Let me just do a 10-second shot. I believe it's possibly this one. They kind of all look the same, don't they? Let's just see. Yep, it's it. Okay, good. So now we're going to do this. We're going to check this guy out. And so I'm going to bring him in by going like this. And then this way, move it in. Right down to the center. Okay. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now we're going to do a 25-second photo right here. And first things first, grab a guide star. Well, there's not much choice, is there? So we're going to go with you. Alrighty. That's a pretty good peek. Okay, now this star looks like much of any other, but when you actually go and do a time exposure of it, and we're doing one now, 25 seconds, things change. I'm going to show you in this one the most amazing star, I guess, nebula there is. Check this out, right? It's showing up right now. Look at that. It almost looks like a frog's eye. Okay. This is a very fascinating region of space. This is all dust in here. So much dust. It just fills the whole field. Yet there's a star in here, and this star is illuminating with its light. It's not doing any oxygen ionization to make teal. It's actually making a sky blue reflection, and then a whitish reflection. The star is right there. And then you've got this strange dark shape. Now, for years and years, we thought that this weird black shape was a dark, dense cloud. In fact, this is one of the probably only one of very, very few areas where we see dark black stuff in front of a nebula like this. It's actually a hole. This is actually a keyhole that's looking through this part of the nebula to what's beyond. It's actually a real void. Usually, when we look at stuff like that, it's a nebula in front of the bright stuff behind it. But in this particular case, and very few like it, it's an actual hole looking through this nebula. Alright, so we've stacked 4 so far. Let's zoom in some more. That's pretty creepy and weird, I'll tell you. Looks like some kind of eye. I gotta move my black level back more because there's some dust in here that needs to be seen. I'm also going to color correct it. Okay, there we go. Alright, look at that. This is all dust. I'll move this down. Yes, again, this is actually called, it's Messier, no, not Messier, NC 1999? Yeah, New General Catalog 1999, known as the 13th Pearl Nebula, the Black Eye Nebula, the Rubber Stamp Nebula. I tend to use the phrase 13th Pearl because that's what this actually is to many people. What a freaky little nebula, huh? Wow. So I hope you guys are all having a good time. All right. Let's color correct again. And you notice in our field, this is pretty big, relatively speaking, because there's a lot of stuff in here that is still hiding. And if we do this, we might get a little bit of a hint. Let's see if we can get rid of that. it's still kind of close to the horizon too. And that's a problem too. Kathy, this everything we're looking at tonight are things you should look at with your Celestron. It's a perfect observing list for you. And they're things that are easily found. Kathy Messick has a nice telescope, and so I'm encouraging her to use it. That's what this is. Okay, let's see, that's 14. I'll go to 15. We're almost to 15, and then we'll go and do one more object. Here we are. This will be the 13th Pearl, the Rubber Stamp, the Black Eye Nebula, NGC 1999. Take your pick. Pick your poison. Okay. Okay. Alright. So there's that little keyhole into the universe. Pretty neat. Alright, now there's one other place I'd like to try and go. Ooh. Speed ourselves up here. Ooh. Alright. We are pretty confident we should be able to see this much easier. There we are. Okay, this is another beautiful nebula that is often seen, and people really like it. And we're going to just center the cluster in here, which I believe is right there. Alright, the focus actually looks good. And so now we'll go to 200 with this one. Alright, and yeah, this telescope's blowing around a little bit. Ugh. Come on. Yes. Alright. Alright, let's just start guiding on this. Alright, start guiding. That's a very faint star. I want a brighter star. Let's guide on this one. Yeah, that's flat top. That's a little too bright. Let's see if we can get a different star. 1 second. Yeah, maybe like this guy. So let's let it pick one now. Yeah, okay. That's a better star. And we have backups too. Nice. Okay. Now let's do a 35-second shot here. We're looking at an object called the Rosette Nebula. It's having trouble staying with it. It's kind of low in the sky. But I want you to see it. It's only going to get better as the season goes on, too. Oh, yeah. That's the very center of it. Let's color correct, line up those curves, and do a little of this. Now what this does is it sets the values to a point that looks the best to your eye at the moment, but we can always start moving this to the left as we get more data. Now, we're not seeing the entire rosette, we're just seeing a piece of it. But there's some beautiful, it's a beautiful big sphere of nebulous detail which is outside of this view. And maybe what I should do, is actually show you that maybe. Alright. This is actually inside the core of it. It's actually interesting. It's just to one side of this interior space. Let's take a look at this. So here's how much, this is what we're looking at. I'll show you. So here is the rosette. This is where we are, and this right here, that is this. Okay, we're seeing that. I can actually make this a little smaller to show you that. So this complexity in here, this is where we're pointing. That's this stuff. These colors are gaudy and not quite correct. But we're looking at the interior of this particular object. And it's flipped differently from the side, you know, but that's okay. Nice though, huh? How pretty is that? Yeah, that's really pretty. We only have 6 stacked right now, and it's already starting to look really good. There you go. That's better. We get more color data, and then when we color correct it, it looks even better. I'm checking something out. Alrighty. I'm gonna look here. We've got 8 wrapped right there. I'd like to do go to the opposite side of this guy. Right there. I'm gonna look here at something. Alright. Alright, we're gonna move up to the upper right here. Let's just wait till it gets to 10. There it is. And we're gonna save this. We're gonna call this the Rosette. Actually, I'll let this tell me, because it will know. Yep. NGC 2237, the Rosette. Yep, that's alright. And now we're gonna save that image with annotations, and we're gonna hop out because we're good. Save exactly as seen. Alright. Now we're going to come in here now and do one more thing. We're going to move up here. So I'm going to move us this way. And come out of the center a little bit. And then we're gonna do this. So we're out of the center, and what I want to do now is reestablish guiding and do this again. And that'll show you a couple of other things. Perfect star. Beautiful guide star. Okay. And now we'll do this for, let's say, 25 seconds. And we're at 200 gain over there with 25 seconds. Alright, we're going to come in here and come out of the low light mode. Excellent. Kathy Messick says, I bookmarked this curl. Nice. Alright, let's see this. Here we go. I could have gone a little further, I see. So I will. A little more. Almost there. Okay. Alright. We're going to go a little further. It's a big object. There we are. That's about right. And then we're going to take it down here. Okay. Alright, and then once again, let's grab our guide star, go in here, and we got a bunch of them now. Okay. Let it stabilize in the guiding, and we'll do 25 seconds again. go into our live stack, come out of low light mode over here. I want you to see the dark lanes in the rosette, which are just stunning. Okay, and now, boom. Wow, look at that. Yeah, this is beautiful. This is the lane I want you to see. That is something else. And there's a lot of detail in here. Let's move this back. This black level moves to the left of the curve a little bit. And then we can take this down just a little bit. There we go. Now we're going to see this get more pronounced as the moments pass. This is an example of a nebula where a star cluster in the center has cleared a cavity around the center of this nebula because of this copious stellar wind that all these stars in a combined manner have. And it's cleared out a spherical cavity around the central star cluster. It formed in a nebula, but then cleared this cavity. And as a result, it pushes and piles up a lot of dust that comes from the inside regions and the areas where stars had previously died and sloughed off outer layers, leaving a lot of this dust that we see in the universe. And it makes these beautiful, gorgeous, like entrails of dust, light years long. Let's move this over here. You can see now the dust is very complicated. There's very complicated shapes. Wow. Yeah, this is really complicated. But it's really nice, I gotta tell you that. And you can see the scope is kind of facing toward the eastern horizon. I hope you guys are having a good time. Creeptasia's with us. Hey there, Creeptasia. Jack's Astrophoto. How you doing, man? Nice to see you as well. This is a small segment of the Rosette Nebula. And now that I can darken this up a little more, get some better contrast out of it. Look at that. Wow. And I'm going to pull this in a little bit. Tease out some more detail. Look at that, huh? Let's see. We're going to drop some of the red a little. Now the Sonoran scope I would have had going tonight too, looking at this, but it couldn't see it yet because it's too low to its horizon and the building's actually in the way. We are converting that scope to be taller on this pier. It'll have the same exact mount as this one does, and we have a second mount already to get the scope on it. And we're going to mount that telescope. Maybe it will move out here at some point, but we also have 2 more potential spots in Colorado opening up to us. This is Arizona now, but we might have 2 more telescopes potentially to utilize. One that we would be utilizing that's not in service at all right now, and one that we would install and put out in the San Luis Valley. And that's a strong potential. The owners of this location really, really want to have this happen. Look at the dust. I mean, look at this. Is just a perfect example of very complex interstellar dynamics going on here. This is light years long, this strand right here. So there could be thousands of planets inside this dark dust, and they're looking out like we're looking out of our dark dust and not even realize it. It's like when you're inside the forest, you can't see the nature of the forest. You see a few trees, but you can't see the whole forest. Well, likewise, we're inside potentially a dark cloud that envelops the Pleiades too, and we can't see out of it, you know. So we don't know what we're looking at. We don't know what's out there. So that's crazy. Alright, let's make another movement here. This. Oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's really, really pretty. Okay, 14 here. Move up to the top. Get our final contrast out of it. And there's 15. And we'll save it there. We saved the other one at the same place, so this will be in the same directory when you go out there. Incredible. Let's do this. Look at this detail. Look at all these little knots. I can tell you what all those may very well be. Those are potentially objects. That's much better. Those are potentially objects known as the beginnings of Bok globules. Bart J. Bok was an American astronomer. I had him as a professor, actually. And he came up with the concept of these little tiny black globs as potential star systems, and now, as we understand, star systems with planets that may be forming, and so they gravitationally contract. So we have a blob coming off here, see all these blobs? These are all potentially these amazing Bok globules starting a solar system or a star system somewhere else. Incredible stuff. Very nice. Yeah, and then we'll come down here. Yeah, that's something. Alright, we're at 20. Let's save. Save exactly as seen. And then we'll back out and look at it overall. Look at that. That is cool. Wow. And again, in the past, we've only looked at it in black and white. And then like this, it's a negative, and we would actually do it like this, so you could actually see what's going on in there. It's like really, that makes it really dark. And if you looked at that like this, you'd see all kinds of noise in there. Okay. But now you see those dark clouds in there. And if we did it in color, well, now it's way too overexposed, right? So we would, just to see it better, we would pull out of that. go to here. But there you go. Wow. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this tonight. This was a fun foray. We got so much more coming up to see. And if any of you are new here, please like and subscribe. As I said, we are a non-profit. If you want to donate to our cause, just go to skytourlive.org and you click the donate button. If you donate $25, you get a wonderful t-shirt. And it's a t-shirt that's actually kind of cool. I think you'd like it. It's a skytourlive.org t-shirt, and it actually has on the front our logo, skytourlive.org, and in the back it has all the planets, and the planets are listed in a circle, in a ring around the outside of the shirt. And those planets, which I'm going to show you actually, include Pluto, because Pluto is a planet in my view. I've always thought that. Alright, I think I can figure out a way to show this to you. Alright, let's go back up here and see if that does it. Yeah, there it is. So, let's see here. Okay, not quite there. Oh, but maybe like this. Yeah. So, here is the shirt. For a $25 donation, you get this planet's shirt. It says, I need my space. There's Pluto. Very, very cool. Eliza, let us know your shirt size. That $25 gets you a shirt. You get this shirt right here. Bam, just like that. Yeah. Oh, we also need, where to send it. So, okay, you know how you do that? I'll show you how you do that. Let's do this. Let's do that. See right down there? Contact skytour@gmail.com. There it is. It's on the stream too, so you'll see it when you re-watch it if you do. And what you can do is you can go there and leave us a message. Give us your shirt size and your address, and we will send you that shirt. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. You help further what we do. It's very nice to have you with us. And make sure you subscribe. Look at that. 30 shots now came in that time. Thanks to Eliza buying your shirt, guys. You got even more imagery to look at. Look at this beautiful, convoluted complexity of dust up here. That's incredible. I'm going to have a good time processing this tomorrow. Oof, that's something. Wow. Our Sonoran scope, we had a funny thing happen. The computer upgraded to Windows 11, and when it did, it wiped out everything on my desktop, meaning all of the previous folders and stuff. All the programs are still installed, so now I have to go rebuild all those folders that I had that had everything on it that we need. Just maddening, I'll tell you. But anyway, it's all good. So I want to, yep, C&D Boy, that's right, SkyTour. Actually, it's contact skytour@gmail.com. It's not skytour@gmail. Sorry. But thank you there, Bob. It's right here, contact skytour@gmail.com. So you can actually get to us by going right to contact skytour@gmail.com right there. Alright, and then let us know your shirt size, Eliza, okay? And your address, where you want us to send it. Christmas is coming. We might be able to get this to you before Christmas. It's very possible. Depends where you are. Yeah. You can also support us in the Patreon if you want. As little as $5 a month, or as much as $200 a month. Believe it or not, we have people at each of those levels, and some in between. We have some expenses to do, and I'm going to keep talking while we got a few more shots coming in. You'll see here in this image, we actually have Starlink out here. This is how we have our internet out in Benson. And in the Sonoran, we have Starlink as well. And at each site, we have to pay $120 a month at each site. So that's $240 a month just for the internet. Now, with the prospect of 2 more observatories coming online to show you different things, that is going to be another set of Starlink costs. Not to mention the cost of the telescopes and everything. These telescopes were very expensive, and what we've done is bring them to you like this because we were able to do it thanks to our Patreon support we have so far. But if you guys can join the Patreon and just be monthly with us, that'd be fantastic. You know, I mean, where are you going to see stuff like this and watch it happen live right before your eyes? I know, SkyTour Livestream. Yeah. Now, I want to say something else. The music you hear on the stream, that is music from our YouTube sound database. It's not our music, but the music at the beginning, the opening song, and the end song, those are written by us, okay, and composed and created by us. And you know, I've already got people that have asked for an album of our songs. I'm telling you, it's crazy. Yeah, but you know, Beyond the Lights at the very beginning, you know, I wrote that song and composed it, and it's the opening song. Now there's another one I did. I got a lot of them. And they had I guess a pleasantry to the stream and everything. It's really nice. So hey, you know, if you're interested in doing that stuff, let me know. Alright, this is looking really pretty. We've done 40 frames. That's really good. So we're gonna save this just like this. And like they say, know when to quit. I gotta go to bed. Okay. Yeah, it's just after midnight. Midnight plus 15 minutes. So anyway, I hope you guys have a good night. And I want to thank you, Eliza. Thank you. That's very kind of you. And send me a message at contactskytour@gmail.com down below here. And tell us your shirt size. And tell us your address. And we'll get you your shirt right away. Catherine Messick, thank you for the compliment. That's very kind. Alright, guys. Well, I'm starting to drag here a little bit. I mean, I can probably only stay up another hour, but I need that hour to get ready to go to bed. Well, not exactly, but you know what I mean. Anyway, you guys have a good night, and I will see you on another clear night. I can't wait because there's so many things coming up in the winter sky that are just so exciting to look at. And hey, just maybe Betelgeuse will go boom and pop for us. That'd be kind of cool. I'd like that. Anyway, you guys have a good night. I'll take care of this. I'll make sure this is available to you in just a few seconds. Alright guys, have a good night. We'll see you later. Mwah! Thank you all.
Stars so bright in the sky, on Arizona nights they fly. Nebulae in colors rare, galaxies beyond compare. Sky tour in the night so clear, brings the universe near. Real-time wonders to see, streaming live for you and me. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views. Every night feels brand new. In the dark, the night unfolds, stories of the cosmos told. Through the lens, a distant dream, living real like a gleam. Far away, up so high, across the stars beyond the skull. Through the lens, a distant dream, living real like a gleam. Lift your eye up so high, across the stars beyond the sky. Sky tour shows us the way, every night a new display. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the views. Every night feels brand new. Lift your eyes to the skies, universe in all its light. Sky tours bringing the view.